Well, the guy, your guy that was involved, I'm assuming he's on leave now, administrative leave.
He's at the house.
Sir?
He's at his house right now.
Okay. How old is he?
We don't really wanna, he's been around at 15, 20 years, so.
Just with your department?
Mostly.
Sheriff, you said previously we were 207 out of 207. How long have you had a special operations team? How many years?
96.
Yeah.
96. I started in 91, and 96 we formed one, and I'll be honest with y'all now, it's sad that somebody's lost a life, but our special operations team has helped other counties, other cities. I think we've got, I'm not running the mouth, but I think we've got probably one of the finest special operations unit teams. We drop a lot of money.
How many members are there in that special ops?
Right now we have a maximum number of 13.
13.
When we deploy out, he wants a minimum, that would be our commander, wants a minimum of 6. And I think on this particular one, 10 went out.
Looking back on it, what happened last night, as of right now, are you satisfied that your guy acted in the right manner based on what you know at this point?
Absolutely.
You have no questions?
No question whatsoever. We're there, and we wanted to do everything we could to save that girl. And at the time, we don't know actually when we go in there if we're going to find the girl has already expired. Thus, a family member would be upset with that. You can woulda, coulda, shoulda, this to death, literally. And there's 1,000 different scenarios you can play out. And Brian, let me tell you, I think everybody would do that. That's common nature. But the end result, if that's your daughter, you want to end that threat. And not only just the girl, but in a perfect world, we want the guy to be okay too. Let him seek some mental help or whatever. But a lot of people rush to judgment, and they think, well, these guys have been out here 30 minutes, or they've been out here a couple of hours, and it's time to go to the house. Hey, when our hostage negotiator shows up on the scene, these guys, with the training they've got, sometimes they're there for 15 minutes and it's over, and sometimes we might be there for a whole day. We do not know. As long as we can keep a line of communication, we don't want to get into all the protocol we follow, but as long as we can keep this guy talking, we're fine, and that's what we want to do. But he was very intent on what he was going to do. Interesting sidebar of the 207 times I was telling Marty that we batting 207 for 207 until last night, until somebody got hurt. I had talked to the chief on the telephone about 10-15 minutes before this went down, and I told him, I said, I don't like the way this is setting up, and I could tell that just in everybody's voice, a concern. This guy cutting off all communication about what he was going to do. I told him, I said, hey, I think this is going to be the real deal.
So you had a bad feeling?
I really did. And it was about 10-15 minutes later when I got the call back, and they said, hey, shots been fired.
Can you talk to us about some of the things that the gunman was saying to you guys over the phone?
I don't really, other than he was very intent on, I think you were there at the time, he was saying that he was going, something to the effect as we were going to have to kill him.
He wanted to die.
He wanted to die. But sometimes we get people that say things, but sometimes people are under the influence of alcohol or narcotics or something, and you can always, keep talking to them, and that's what you want to do. As long as you keep that dialogue going, everything's usually...
Was he under the influence of something?
Well, that's something that that'd probably be best answered by ABI. I would...
What were some of the things that you were telling him, like, everything's going to be okay, just come outside? I mean, can you give us some examples?
I was not the hostage negotiator on this particular one. It was our chief investigator that was. And he told me that one of the things he found that was very relevant that he thought he was going to pretty much get some activity out of was the fact that he had established that his brother was in the military, and he was trying to use that as a vein to say, hey, you ought to be proud of him, everything's fine. We were trying to get him to see if he would release the girl, because the 11-year-old had left, and trying to talk him into letting the girl come out, and he could still talk to her while she would be on the outside, and then we would continue talking to him, and he would have none of that. And it was soon after that, he ceased all contact with us.
What do you think, looking back on it, was the deciding moment in which you lost him? What do you, not that you guys did anything wrong, of course,
Sure.
but what do you think, where do you think it broke down?
In other words, at what point did we
Yeah.
decide we were going in? I think between the 30 and 40 minutes that they continued to try to talk to him, they continued to try the cell phone, they continued trying to, the throw phone that they had, they can have no contact. He'd already very intent on what he was gonna do. Between the guys that were hostage negotiators that were tag teaming that, our guys on the scene, they were conferring with us. We were en route. Chief Crenshaw was out there, and I believe from us not knowing at the time if the girl herself was still alive, or is she hurt, is she bleeding to death, we did not know. We said, hey, this is definitely gonna go south. We have got to do something. We were concerned about him, but more concerned about the girl. She is the victim. But at that point, we finally said, hey, do what you have to do to go ahead and try to save this girl. And like I said, we could be sitting here and 4 hours later, we go in, get him, walk him out, but the girl had died 2 hours earlier. And then y'all would be saying, well, why didn't you go in, you knew, you know? So, like I said, we give it to death. And believe you me, I mean, every time we go out, you know, even the peaceful resolutions we always give, those 207 times, we always think, well, what could we have done here? What about this? What about this? It rolls through your mind all the time. But it's just...
And you said, and I just have one last thing, but you said that Bean was shot about 6 times. Was it all in the chest area?
Yes, in the upper torso.
Okay.
From what I viewed, it appeared to be from the navel to the neck area. And that's...
Pretty much died right then.
Well, yeah.
But it wasn't 6 hours later.
No. It's pretty, I would say, fairly immediate.
And she was shot in the head.
Yes.
And at what point was she shot simultaneously? Or was she shot?
Yes, I was not there and did not hear the rounds go off, but everybody that I talked to and listened to our guy that was on point, he gave a command to this particular fellow. The shotgun was up at an angle where it was an obvious immediate threat to the girl. He did not comply, and those rounds, as best can be described, the first 2 rounds were almost simultaneously from 2 different weapons.
Bill, you were talking about how Bean was wanting to say he wanted to die. During the time of the negotiation process, was he making any threats to kill Haley during the negotiation process?
So no, negotiators would have that
I'd have to
information.
negotiate about that.
Okay, so outside of obviously having a gun to her head. Okay.
I think, I know when the 11-year-old girl left, you know, she had told pretty much what the scenario was about, and I think that's when the call was made. And,
Who made the call? Was it the 11-year-old who made the call to
no,
911,
the
or was it
stepdad
the
was there,
stepfather?
and I think he actually had a friend, and it was either his cell phone or the friend's cell phone.
That's correct.
And they called from a cell phone,
So an
911.
adult
they told
made
me.
the, made
Oh, yeah.
the,
Correct.
This is, I know this is kind of speculation, but do you think he killed her? A situation where if I can't have her, then nobody can. I mean, does it sort of fall into that category?
That is a very plausible explanation,
Okay.
and one that a lot of people would probably, if they read about, would probably say, well, that's probably what you got here. I don't know all the intricacies of each of them's lives. I know right now we can obviously tell that they both had a, you know, here recently, I know there's some domestic violence going on, but that's very plausible.